Alright, we just made this little page where we can view our images. Now it's time to upload an image. To upload an image should be as easy as just creating a button in here in index.html and make a method here that's being called when you press the button, which will call the REST API endpoint and upload the image. Unfortunately, the way we have our Django REST API configured right now, the image upload will take a little bit more input. This is not due to Django REST framework. This is due to this whole thing not knowing what to do with an image file when it's being sent over a network connection. First of all, we need to define, well, we don't need to, but we should define in this case a save method. Save in terms of upload. To do this, we add a dictionary here and we add the save thing here. We define it as a method called post. Okay, and we define a transform request object, which for now we will set to angular.identity. Don't need anything else for now. And last but not least, we define our headers as content type undefined. This is not the whole story yet, so stay tuned. In index.html, we're just gonna add a button. Above this ng repeat, we just add a little division here, which will say we are a form, we are of class form, we have a name called form, kind of repetitive, I know. And if I'm being submitted, we're gonna call a method called upload image. Inside this form, we're gonna make an input field which is called file, and we're gonna get the files model here. We're gonna store it in new image.image. We have not defined files model yet. We will do that in a second. Below, we're gonna make a button of type submit, and it's gonna called upload. So we've got a couple things here we need to explain. ng submit is the method that's being called when the submit button is pressed or when the enter button on the keyboard is pressed. Upload image will be the method that's being called, therefore we need to define it in our scope. We're gonna define it like this and add some output to it so we can debug it easier. New image.image is where the new image is saved, so we need to define new image in our scope. We're gonna do this like this. And last but not least, we need to define this image field. Files model, rather. This is a little feature that's being implemented on Stack Overflow. Or by a Stack Overflow user, rather. If Stack Overflow is working, yes it is, we can see what this directive looks like. That's quite straightforward. We just need to add this somewhere. So we make ourselves a new JavaScript file. We're gonna call it files model directive.js. We're gonna put this here and include it into our app. Probably should load it as a dependency here. And we need to define it as a model. A module. This we can do in app.js, like right here. Angular.module, which would be what you call here. So we're gonna replace that with my app. The directive is called files model, and we're gonna use the files model directive, which was created in another file. Alright. What happens if we refresh the page? We can see we can put a picture in here, get the name of the picture here, and press upload. Obviously upload will not do anything other than print the message upload image called. But, well, that's not a big deal, right? How about we just call images save scope.newImage. Let's see what happens. Refreshing, adding an image, and say upload. We get an error. 415 unsupported media type. Whew, what does that mean? Let's look at the params. The params is an object here. Like, that's weird. Like, that should be the image, right? Wrong. The problem we're facing is very, very simple. We have this new image here, we add it here, but whenever we do this, we run into a problem. So let's remove this, see what's going on. Browse and select an image and upload, and we get this again. Unsupported media type. This time we see something else here. We see image is being passed as an object, 0 is an object, and what is this? Oh, well, it's not working. Oh, well, if it's an array, maybe we can make it work by doing something like this. Scope.newImage.image is scope.newImage.image 0. We're selecting a picture again and uploading. And again, it's not working. Like, don't know what's going on. It says unsupported media type. Well, I know exactly what is going on. I'm just demonstrating you the points of failure that I took when I tried to find out what is going on. Don't need this. The clue is in this transform request. Obviously it's not angular.identity. However, I've just written that here as a placeholder. We need to define ourselves a little function, which we're not going to write from scratch. Instead, we're also going to rely on a Stack Overflow post. Actually, this post before was on GitHub, sorry. There's a nice Stack Overflow post which explains what is going on and that you essentially need to create a new form data object. And he was kind enough to find out that you can do that by just using the transform request. And basically, transform request is this function here. We're gonna call that transform image request. We don't need the HTTP provider, we need the data here. In fact, it's not this function, it's this function in here that we need. Here we go. We can also just use PyCharm to reformat it. No, we cannot. So let's reformat it ourselves. Okay, and this transform image request needs to go here. So what does it do? We're checking the data we're being handled. If it's undefined, we basically return undefined. If it's not undefined, we create ourselves a new form data. We iterate over a key value pair that's in data, and if it's an instance of file list, then to form data we append the key with value on 0. And this is the same value 0 I tried earlier, but now it's in a form data object. If it's not in a form data object, we just append whatever is there as key underscore index and a file. But this is the case that's usually going to happen. And here, if it's not a file list, we just append the key and the value because it's a form data object. Also important, we have set the headers to content type undefined. Let JavaScript figure out the content type itself. And we will see what is going on. Browse, select an image, upload. We still have an error. It now says forbidden. That means it has taken the parameter. Also, if you look here in the params, there is actually something in here. So this just worked. We're still not quite there, unfortunately. So something is still wrong. We need to figure out what it is. We're getting a 403 forbidden. Well, the reason for this could be in the response. CSRF failed, CSRF token missing or incorrect. Now this is a kind of big thing. Django uses CSRF to avoid some nasty attacks. Essentially, because we are logged in, we're getting this check. So if we log out and upload again, it works. So what happened here? We have a header, and it does say there's a cookie and it's a CSRF token. And if that one is evaluated, it will say it's wrong because it's not created for this page or something. I don't know. Essentially, we have an anonymous page. We haven't configured it properly, so we get this error. But now we're fine. We get this, and we get in return the image that we just uploaded as an URL and the primary key. It's not in this list here, although, for a reason. Let's refresh it. Now it's here. Now what is happening? We need to add it once we have it in our database. So here we call images.save. How about we just do something when we have it added? We just inject ourselves in this method and we get the response. And here we can say scope.images.unshift response. You saw the response. That's just the plain JSON string of the new image. So if we add it here, like this is already a JavaScript object, using unshift, which will add it in the front. Not sure why it's not recognized. It should appear in this front, so let's try. There we go. So in the background, this image is being uploaded. You can check it in your debug mode if you don't believe it. Upload. And download it again, because this is a new URL. This is this URL here. You can see here, it's the same URL as this one. And that's all being handled by a little JavaScript and Django. The way we've implemented it is still efficient and nice to read. The controller itself only calls the save method. It doesn't know what's happening with this image. However, in the images endpoint, we've defined the transform request for our image, very specifically only for our image and only for the save method. And last but not least, we have this files model directive, which doesn't do much other than some fancy stuff with the files object, so we can easier access it. Okay, so now we're finished with uploading. Let's see what else is up for us to do. Maybe we can add a delete button, but that's something for the next step. Alright, we just finished with this file upload, and now it is time for us to do a delete of an image. First of all, we need to define the delete endpoint here. No, wait, we don't have to, because that's something Angular resource will do for us as soon as this primary key is known. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to add a delete button here. And when it's clicked, we say delete image and say delete here. Obviously we need to define delete image, so we do this in our scope. Let's close this one. Here we go. We do this in our project, in our app. Delete image is a function of image, and we say image.$delete. Now what is happening here? We get an image and we just call $delete on it. What is going on? Well, ng-resource has a nice feature where it links itself to the object, and when you call $delete or $save or $update, it will do something with it. It will trigger the REST endpoint behind it. In this case, delete will trigger a delete command, and we can just test what's happening here. Delete button is kinda misplaced. Let's just fix this. Make a break here. There we go. If we delete this image, what's happening? It calls the delete function on 7, which will do a delete on API images 7. We have a redirect here, not sure why this is happening, but it's okay. Maybe we forgot to add... Yes, we forgot to add the trailing slash, which I talked about in an earlier video. I don't want to upload, want to delete this image. There we go, now it's being deleted properly. And we get status code 204 no content, which in this browser is appearing as green, so it means it's okay. 2 at the beginning is always okay. No content is also okay because it was deleted, so there's nothing here. Cool. What else can we do once we have it deleted? Well, we can do the same thing as before. Go to the promise of this little REST API endpoint and say if it works, which is the first callback, update my images. Same as I did before, I'm updating them here. This is not the most efficient way to do it. I should just delete the image from my local array, but this is something in JavaScript that's much easier to write, so I'm just going to do it like this. Let's delete image 9. Is it gone? It's not going. Oh, the promise is undefined. Yes. Actually, when you do $delete, you don't need to do $promise. You just do it right in there. You say image.delete and you put the response, the callback method in here. Now it's working. Don't bother about the messages here, you just see what's going on. We're deleting the image and we're querying the web service again, which will return one image less and less and less until there's no image left, and we can upload images again. And you can keep doing uploading as long as you want. The service should not fail, but the page will get kind of messy and it's not looking very nice. So there's one more step to do for this chapter of the tutorial. Let's make this page look a little bit nicer. In the last step we finished adding a delete button. We can upload images as well, but the page kind of looks not nice. So how can we do something about this? Well, let's get started with some very deep CSS skills. No, just kidding. I'm not a designer. What we want to do, we're in the static folder, we want to add Bootstrap 3, which is a CSS library. There we go, we added Bootstrap 3. No, it's not that simple. We just need to add the CSS file as well. Now this is placed in Node modules and it should be in Bootstrap. There we go. And there is a dist file, like for distribution. So dist CSS, there's more than one file as you can see. And we're adding bootstrap.css. Again, we could use the minified version, but for now we just use this one. It makes it easier to debug things for now. And now the fancy part needs to happen. We need to style our page. Well, before we do that, let's see if this has an effect on our page already. Yes, it did. There's some overrides there that will do some default CSS overrides, make the page appear a little bit cleaner, but realistically we're not there yet. Okay, we have our app, can stay as it is. We have our upload form. This will be put in a panel. Just the default panel. It doesn't really need a header, so we just put in a body and we copy paste it in here. Well, format, there we go, and refresh the page. Now this looks still kind of messy, but it's better now. As another step, this button needs to be styled, because Bootstrap has a lot of nice button styles. So we just say this is a button with button default, or let's make it a button primary, make it a different color, and the rest can stay as it is. And here we go, now we got a blue upload button. But maybe we don't want it that tight to this field, so we just make a break, and there we go. Doesn't look too good, doesn't look too bad either. More importantly, what should we do with those images? Bootstrap is a very nice framework that will make them, that can arrange them in columns. But before we do that, we add a message here with ngIf. If the image's length equals 0, there's no images in our database, we should display a message. Cool, that's easy. I mean, that's just an if clause. If images.length equals 0, display message here. And you don't need to do an else, because here we just repeat for each image in images, and if there's no images in here, this will not be printed or repeated at all. Around this, we will make ourselves, actually not around this, yeah, well, we can do it here. We'll make ourselves a Bootstrap row. Row has some features like expanding to the full width and has a float, so we need that. Here we will add a class. This will be a column that has the wideness of 12. 12 means full width. XS means extra small screens, that's like 400 pixel width. Same for small screens, that's like 760 pixels. And for medium screens we make 2 columns, so we make a width of 6. And for large screens we make 4. I'll show you what those means in a second. And entry repeat stays as it is. Let's see what's happening. We made a boo-boo. There we go. Here we go. Now this doesn't look too good right now, but let's see what is happening and why this is happening. We've made this a grid layout in Bootstrap. That means we have a grid of columns and we can shrink the page size and the images will rearrange. So here we have 2 columns. This will correspond to medium screen. 3 columns, that's a large screen. Here, 3 times 4 is 12, right? And for small screens and extra small screens, it's a full width, so here. However, the image itself is not scaling. It's not responsive. It's what it's called. We need to remove this width attribute and add a class to the image. This image class is called image responsive. That's very easy, right? Another thing we should probably do, this button, we will add it to the header, make it appear nicer, and then we don't need this break. See? Now the images scale with the size of what is available. This button here also needs to be styled. Where is it? Here. We make this a button, and we make this a button danger, because we're deleting something and that's dangerous. Making the user immediately aware, don't do that. Oops, I just did it. Oh well. Now what happens if we upload more than 3 images? A new row will be started. So even if we duplicate them, I mean, whatever. You see, the rows will fill up, and if I scale the page down to this, we only have 1 column. So this is a mobile friendly, it's a responsive page. Not looking too bad, not looking too good either. I'm not a designer, so don't kill me. And yeah, with that, I'm leaving you to try out some more things. Thank you for watching this tutorial. This was chapter 1 of the image upload tutorial. If you want to tune in into chapter 2, not sure what I will do, but just check it out if it's already available on YouTube. If not, I apologize, the videos take some time to make. If you have any questions, always feel free to comment below, and feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you and goodbye.